Hey, what's up? It's Bill the Universe, and I'm going to do the birth chart reading of Jeffrey Epstein. So, Jeffrey Epstein he's a Capricorn sun, he is a Pisces moon, and he is a Sagittarius ascendant. And that's interesting that he's a Sagittarius ascendant. First house is the house of the body. So, like, ascendant is very much who you uniquely are. And he's a Sagittarius ascendant, which is interesting because, Sagittarius is very expansive because it's Jupiter. And there's like 3 million files on him. And that's very expansive, right? It's very big, it's very heavy. And he's a Sagittarius ascendant, which is expansive, right? So that's pretty interesting to me. There is a lot of wealth here in this chart. There's a lot of like valor. There's a lot of what's it called? Elitism. There's a lot of being with the higher ups. There's a lot of that here. Now, we're all born with free will. So we can do with whatever we want with the energy that we have, with the influence that we have. So in Vedic astrology, which is what I study, it's called a yoga. Yoga is where two things meet, where things look at each other, where things are interacting with each other. So in Vedic astrology, a yoga is a promise. And he has a lot of yogas in his chart that are very good. It's just life. It's both. It's like that's more like your nature. I mean your nurture. And then it's like what's gonna be your nature to like do did I make any sense? It's like you have all these things that you're like psychologically prone to, but then it's up to you to decide like how you're actually gonna work that energy. What are you gonna do with that energy that you're blessed with or not? So he has, let's just start with these yogas. How about that? He has what's called a Vapi yoga. That's when all the planets are in non-Kendra houses. So most of his planets are non-Kendra, which is very interesting because when you have really good Kendra houses, you are very stable. And stability is not about like being super rich, because if you're not stable and you're super rich, you can be super poor the next year and then go back to being super rich and being super poor. But even if you're a poor person, like but if you have all Kendra houses, like for example, you won't be a millionaire or maybe you won't be rich, but you'll always pay your bills on time. Like you'll always have enough money. You'll always have a job. You know what I mean? Those are good Kendra houses. So it's funny because he's so rich and he has yogas that promise lots of money and fame, but his Kendra houses are shit. Like he doesn't have stability. So I think that's very, very interesting. Anyway, he has what's called a Vapi yoga. That's when all the planets are in non-Kendra houses, like I just said. This will accumulate wealth. The he has Now this is interesting. This is I'm reading off of like ancient scriptures here. It says accumulate wealth, small but lasting comforts, long life, sweet tongue. Now that's interesting because apparently Mr. Epstein is dead. So he wouldn't have a long life and he wouldn't have small but lasting comforts. What's also interesting is that people are saying that he's still alive. People are doubting that he died. And if it's true that he went into hiding, yes, he would have small but lasting comforts, because even though he would have to live small, he would still be a very, very wealthy person. And it says long life, right? So I don't know. And like I just said, a yoga is a promise. So according to this chart, he should still be alive. Okay, moving on. By the way, I love my life, and if I turn out missing, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't think anyone gives a shit about this type of stuff. So anyway, Yupa yoga. That's what kind of yoga he also has. He has what's called a Yupa yoga. These people are very learned. Like I said, he's a Sagittarius ascendant. He's a learned man. He's very wealthy. These men are very valorous. Here's what the ancient text says, okay? Engaged in sacrificial rituals. You want me to say that again? Engaged in sacrificial rituals. Blessed with home comforts, pursues wealthy duties. So these are very, very materialistically blissful yogas. These are very, very abundant type of promises in his life. And that's fucked up about engaging in sacrificial rituals. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone who has this yoga likes to sacrifice whatever. You know, some people, let's say that you're someone who is always kind of watching out with their weight. And so whenever you get a combo at a fast food restaurant, you always dump out half of the Coke and you only eat like just a couple fries. That would be a sacrificial ritual because you're honoring your body. You're saying, look, I'm trying to achieve balance here. I'm doing this for a reason, you know, dumping it out. That would be a sacrificial ritual, you know. Or you, whenever you promise something, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this in my life. That means I'm gonna stop watching TV late at night. I'm gonna, you know, that would be also be a sacrificial ritual. So don't think that just because you have this yoga means that you like to, you know. But I don't know. I mean, shit. Okay, next he has a Nauka yoga. You see, it says that these people are miserly. These people are greedy. These people are ambitious. These people are fickle. And now this is interesting. Now, if you know a lot about him and the files, you tell me. I've only kind of skimmed, barely just skimmed with as far as the files go, and I know that about as far as him, I know more about him through astrology than I do than like looking him up, and I don't really indulge in the tea that much. But this says that he earns through water related pursuits. What is that? Water related pursuits. That could be shipping. And then I was thinking like, okay, you know what also was a water related pursuit? The Atlantic slave trade. And what is he being accused of? Right? And what's interesting is that a lot of people, I did see one documentary. It was about Ghislaine. And they were saying how people didn't know how Jeffrey Epstein made his money, you know? So I think if y'all can connect with the fuck I'm trying to say, then make those connections, boo boo. Okay. So he's also has what's called a Danushu yoga. Okay, this says that they're brave. Now this is interesting that they're a jailer. A jailer. What? A jailer? Yeah, someone who puts people in jail. What? Do you see what the dots I'm providing for you? Okay, they're proud, skilled, they're good at archery, they make good thieves. They are wanderers. When I say wanderer, I mean someone who literally just like is kind of aimless, like just kind of goes everywhere that they kind of feel like going. You know, people are like that. You know, some people are Rolling Stones, which is interesting because he's an Uttara Ashada sun. Uttara Ashada sun is a very masculine placement. And it's actually so masculine that a lot of times they're players. They don't like to be like tied down that way. And they can very much have that Rolling Stone type of vibe. And it also says happy and successful. So I don't know how happy he really was in life, but that's what it says, happy and successful. He was definitely successful. Okay, the next yoga he has is called an Ardha yoga. And this says that he could be the commander of an army, which I know he didn't, I don't know. I mean, you never know. This man was apparently a very fucking powerful person. You know, and it's not unheard of for privatized entities to have armies. Like, you know, the Dutch East India Tea Company was a private company, and they had a navy. They were a corporation, and they had like in this 18th century in Netherlands, and they had an army, and they would like kill people. They would invade. So who knows what he did, you know? The other thing about this Ardha yoga is that it says honored by the ruler. Honored by the ruler. First of all, he associated with the royalty of England. He knew the Queen. He knew Prince Andrew, right? Him, Ghislaine, and Prince Andrew. Every president knows and has met this man. You know, world leaders. Like he rubs shoulders with all of them. That's what this says. This says honored by the ruler. Then this says good looks. Hey, I'm like, no, I mean, no judgment. Like, he has a couple of placements that suggest he's a handsome guy. So, I don't know. Y'all tell me. It doesn't exactly float my boat, but y'all tell me. And then it also says brave and wealthy. Like, honestly, you have to be brave to be wealthy. You do. You got to have a vision. You got to go for it. And that makes a lot of sense. You know what's also interesting is that, you know who's also brave? Psychopaths. Because they don't have that filter. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's a psychopath. I'm just saying, like, bravery, like, has its ups and downs. And bravery can make you rich. I mean, it can. Okay, the last yoga he has, actually he has two more yogas. Okay, sorry. He then he has a Nina yoga. This makes him prosperous. Here's what's interesting. This was kind of interesting. It says that he knows sacred scripture. That's interesting. He knows sacred scripture. Now that doesn't have to mean that you're a demonic person. You could be a very religious person. You could be one of those sweet old ladies or sweet old guys who loves to read their Bible and study it. You might have this yoga. If you love to go to Bible study, you might have this yoga in your chart. Knows sacred scripture. Now, what's interesting is that he has his Rahu in Shravana. Rahu is the thing that you're very obsessed with, the things that really just you can sink your teeth into. And it's funny that his Rahu is in Shravana. Shravana is a star in Capricorn. Shravana, it was brought to light by the astrologer Claire Nakti. She says that she made all these great connections that Shravana, she made all these great connections from Shravana to aliens, to mystical stuff, to mantras, to magical incantations, to all that shit. So the fact that he has his Rahu in this very mystical star, and he has a Nina yoga that says he knows sacred scripture, and in his Yupa yoga, it says that he can be engaged in sacrificial rituals. You connect all those fucking dots. If y'all can't connect those fucking dots, I don't know. But again, you know, like I said, this is just astrology. What the fuck do we know, right? It's only a 4,000-year-old ancient tradition. Also with his Nina yoga, fond of dance and music. He did look like a pretty jovial guy, didn't he? But which is also funny because, like I said in the beginning of the video, he's a Sagittarius ascendant. Sagittarius, you know, they're known for being jovial. Like a good symbol of Sagittarius is the fat Buddha, someone who's very learned, someone who's very old, but also someone who's very jovial and someone who likes to smile and laugh and drink. You know, but yeah, fond of dance and music. I can see him doing that. According to all those photos, that he had a good time in his life. It also says skillful and a leader. I mean, he obviously was a leader of some type. He might have been a fucking gangster type of leader. He might have been a fucking warlord type of leader, a sex trafficker type of leader. But nonetheless, he was a leader. And it says that he was skillful. So probably like skillful with the hands. I mean, there was another, in his Dhanushu yoga, it says that he's good. He's also skilled. And it says has good with archery. And it says he's a thief. That kind of is a skill because thievery is using your hands. And archery, you know, all that stuff, stealing, whatever, a lot of it has to do with having good hands. which is interesting. Do I see strong hands? Do I see good hands in his chart? Yeah, he has his Mercury in his first house. Interesting. Yeah, so and then Mercury is all about writing too. So he might have been a writer. I wonder if he was a writer. Mercury is multiple. This means and it's in Sagittarius, which is a movable sign, mutable sign. So it's like he probably had a lot of energy. He probably had a lot of energy. Um, Mercury is the Kartika of business and work and having a lot of mental energy. People with a lot of Mercury, they read for fun. You know, they like study for fun. They have so much mental energy that they can be like inebriated or fucked up, and they'll be like, "Let's go to the library." Like literally, they're just they have so much mental energy. They'll have like 1,000 projects, and they'll get it all done. They have schedules up the ass. They have a lot of personal projects. They can tend to know a lot of languages. Tell me if he knew a lot of languages, because not only does he have Mercury in his first house, and Mercury is languages, and it's the intellect, and it's the speech, but also he has his Rahu in Shravana. Shravana, people can be very interested in languages because Shravana is a moon nakshatra, and moon people are very good, very intuitive, and moon people are very good at languages. So I wonder if he spoke multiple languages. You know, it's funny that stuff about Sagittarius ascendant was because, but didn't I read that? Where was that? Anyway, it's funny that he's a Sagittarius ascendant because Sagittarius people are so smart, and Sagittarius, and he apparently, according to his actual like history, educational history, his actual history, according to this chart, everything points to him being a genius, like an incredibly intelligent person. You know what's also interesting is that he might have really did want to be a teacher. His son is an Uttarashada. Sun people really like to be professors. Sun people really enjoy being professors. They like that. You know who was a sun person? Indiana Jones. And even though he was really sexy and he was an adventurous, all that, what was his actual day job? He was a motherfucking professor. My friend, who is a Sun native, I asked her, I was like, what do you want? What would you be if you could just be anything you want? And she was like, I would be a college professor. Like, Sun people, they just love being like teachers. My mom was a teacher and she was a Sun native. So I think that's really fascinating. But not only that, not only is he a Sun native, but he has a Rahu conjunct. Rahu is all about illusion. So Rahu's like a lot of ego there. So Rahu is like what you want to be seen as. So he might have really wanted to be a teacher. Maybe he got fired. He got a little bit of heat there. Something happened. I don't know. But this means that he probably would have wanted to be a teacher or some type of like high intellectual. What was my point? I don't know. I forget. Anyway, he has like 3 planets in Chara. Chara is basically your cardinal signs. He has his sun in Capricorn. He has his Jupiter in Aries, and he has his Saturn in Libra. Again, this will lead to good looks. Now, he's not really my type, but again, y'all tell me if technically he is kind of a handsome dude. It also suggests he loves to travel. He's very ambitious, likes to travel in pursuit of wealth. He's open-minded. He's adaptable, which is very interesting because I do think he was open-minded because he has a lot of mysticism in his chart. He talks about mystical things. There's videos on TikTok of him talking about the soul, of him talking about, astrophysics and, stuff like that. So he does have a very open mind. And we do know that he did like to travel and he did like to travel in pursuit of wealth. So, and he was very, very ambitious. Okay, so last yoga he has a solar yoga. Why? I don't know, but he does. Mm. Oh, okay. So he's got something opposite his sun. His Ketu is in Aslasha. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. So he has a solar yoga where his sun in Rahu in the second house is aspecting his Ketu and Aslasha in the eighth house. That's actually more mysticism. And you know what also it is? It's also ha- benefiting from your partner's finances. Because eighth house in Jyotisha is the house of other people's resources. So when you marry, you inherit your spouse's resources. Ghislaine Maxwell was his girl, right? Ghislaine belonged to the Maxwell dynasty. Her father was a actually a publishing mogul. I'm pretty sure either media mogul or publishing mogul. She comes from the top of the top of the top. Epstein wishes that he would have come from a family like that, but Epstein just was a incredibly genius person. But not only was he a very genius person, but he was coupled with someone who comes from immense wealth, and this is in his solar yoga. Eighth house, like I said, it's also remember, like as we all know, eighth house is a huge financial. It's a powerhouse. You know, there's a lot of finances in the eighth house, and again, this is the house of other people's resources, and it's in Ketu. That's what's interesting. This is also very mystical. That this is a very mystical chart. Spells, incantations, mystical stuff. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he was into astrology. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he was into. I mean, everyone wants to say that like evil and demonic, and people want to say that. I don't like saying those words. I really don't. But I mean, it's not there in his chart. First of all, Aslasha, he has his Ketu in Aslasha. Aslasha is a star in Cancer, but it's a very, very, very mystical part of Cancer. It's a very it's a venomous part of Cancer. It's very beautiful, but it's very sucking. It's very sucking the life out of things, sucking the life out of people. It's very venomous, like I said. The way that people express this energy in a healthy way is that they will become business. First of all, they'll become businessmen. Like, this is a really good placement to be a businessman, because it's I hate to say, but it is kind of a healthier way of like striking, because you can associate with Aslasha is the coiled snake, the snake that is trying to be charmed, with that flute, and that old flute in India, and da 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 da, with the charm, with the snake, and he's dancing and stuff like that. That's the snake that belongs to this energy of Aslasha, and he has this in his chart. Women with this chart are so beautiful, and their eyes are very hypnotic. This is why, again, there's like the snake, imagery, symbology. Oh, I'm sorry, symbolism with the snake. And so for a man, it makes them very, 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 very cunning, because it's not actually a masculine placement. It's actually a very feminine placement. And feminism. Femininity isn't about getting what you want through active force, through pouncing like a lion. It's actually through attracting and using your mag your magnetic field, your magnetism. Thank you, God. Your magnetism to like attract and allure. And so this is why Aslasha has a lot to do with the snake, because it's kind of like that. It's almost, you could say, like it's the toxic feminine part of femininity, and he has this in his chart, which is very, 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 very interesting, because like I said, this is in his eighth house of other people's resources, which would be his wife. Well, not his wife, his partner, Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh my God, I have so much more. Let's just keep going. Okay. Nabasa yogas. He has Nabasa yogas, okay? Planets in the first seven house. houses. You already know. You see that circle birth chart when you look at a birth chart. The first seven houses are below the earth. That means they can be very secretive. They do things on their own. They do things in the dark. They do things in private. He has all but two planets. Yeah. So there's the seven planets in Jyotisha. There's only seven, right? And then he has Rahu and Ketu, so that's nine. So he has all nine energies. He has seven of them in the first seven houses, which means completely underground. Completely underground. And he has his moon and his sun and his Mars in the first seven houses. That's just everything, all your activity, all your emotions, all your glory, everything you do is underground. It's done in secret. Okay, so the Mars is aspecting his 6th, 10th, and ninth houses. Where is his Mars? Okay, he's got a decent Mars. It's not perfect, but it's a good Mars. It's aspecting his 6th house. That's a really good thing. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's actually a really good thing. Makes you very successful. 6th house is competition. 6th house is diseases, is enemies. And so you want something nasty that's going to fight right back. And Mars is the perfect dude. He's got Mars aspecting his 6th house. He's also got Mars aspecting his 10th house. That's another really good thing. That makes him a cutting edge in the boardroom. This is the house of career, of your public display. So 10th house Mars aspecting your 10th house like that, that's going to make you a cutting person. Makes you slash and dash, makes you like the head honcho of the boardroom. It's also in his aspecting his ninth house, which is interesting. Ninth house is like the elite of the elite. 10th house is elitist too, but 10th house is really just work. It's really your ability to work and you'd be a good worker. But ninth house is, are you sitting pretty with the king and queen? And he is. So that's very interesting. But at the same time, it's also a malefic. So Mars is a malefic, and then ninth house is benefic because it's Sagittarius. So it's almost kind of like saying he is a pollution in the elites of the world. Anyway, yeah. So he's got Mercury aspecting his 7th house. That's interesting. That's interesting for me because the it is being said that he likes him young. And Mercury is the young planet. Mercury and Moon can symbolize children in anyone's chart. When people are heavy Mercury or heavy Moon, look up any child actor. They have heavy Mercury. The first person off the top of my head, my list, first person off the top of my head is Lindsay Lohan, right? Because she was a kid actor. She was very popular. She is a Hasta. What is she? She's a Hasta. She's a Hasta sun, and she's a Gemini ascendant. Who else? Olsen twins. They are moon people because they're Shravana sun. That's moon. So like childhood actors, they'll be heavy Mercury or heavy moon. What's her name? Kiki Palmer was a child actor. She's an Aslesha ascendant that's ruled by Mercury. You know what I mean? So the fact that he's got his 7th house ruled by Mercury, first of all, because it's in Gemini. And then he has Mercury aspecting the 7th house of relationships, which is really fascinating to me. Yeah, man. Sorry to say, it kind of makes it look like, we'll say this the nicest way I can. His wife will be younger than him. His partners will be younger than him, and Gemini and Mercury both represent the word multiple. So he will have multiple relationships. He will have multiple girlfriends. He will have multiple younger partners. All right, moving on. Venus is aspected in the 9th house. Yes. Again, 9th house is the house of sitting pretty with the queen, being friends with the elite. And Venus is aspect. This means this is what gives him joy. This is what he likes to do. He likes to this is what he kind of fantasizes about and dreams about, and he wants to makes him feel really good is, rubbing shoulders with the elites of the world. This is the ninth house, and the ninth house isn't just the elites of the world. Like, you have to think, when I say the elites of the world, I'm not just saying like the CEO of Exxon. I'm also talking about the Pope, and I'm talking about religious figures too, because this is Sagittarius. This is higher things in life. Like, this is why Sagittarius rules education, and philosophy, because those are higher things in life. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, he has Mars, Venus, and Jupiter aspecting the ninth house of higher things in life. Like, this chart screams higher things in life. It screams wealth. It screams elitism. Okay, moving on. He has his moon aspecting his 10th house. That's very interesting. So it's like he met his. Oh, I see. His moon aspecting is okay. It means he's devoted to work. It means he's a hard worker. He's always got a job. He's always doing something. You know, he's this is kind of like mentally where he shines. This is like mentally where he feels safest. This is mentally where, and that makes so much sense, because not only is it aspecting his 10th house, but he's got his moon in Uttar Bhadra. That's a star in Pisces. You know who else has their moon in Uttar Bhadra? Ghislaine motherfucking Maxwell. They both have their moon. Now, they both not only have their moon in Pisces, but they both have their moon in the same degrees. This is a psychic connection. This is when you meet your partner and y'all have this. This is a very strong marriage connection. This is a very strong psychic receptivity connection. When you have this type of like connection with your spouse, when both of you are sharing, both of your moons are sharing the same nakshatra. This is I love that line by the Carpenters. We know, no need to talk it out. We know what it's all about. And that's exactly like the energy when you're partnered with someone who share the same like nakshatra as you. I mean, you don't even have to talk about what's going on. You don't have to say, "Are you okay?" Because you already know. You already know. Like, if you've ever had like a partner where you just literally like it was like you had weird psychic connections, probably have very, very conjunct moons. Where am I? Okay, Jupiter conjunct the ninth. I already said that. I mean, I'm sorry, Jupiter aspect the ninth. Also, Jupiter's aspecting the first. That's fascinating. That's honestly, it's very good. That's heavy, heavy Jupiter. Jupiter's the planet of luck. First of all, he's a Sagittarius ascendant. That's Jupiter, right? Okay, so then the ruler of his birth chart, his whole chart is Jupiter. Oh no, this is yeah. The ruler of his chart is Jupiter, right? Not only that, so if your ruling planet is Jupiter, then you want to look at what Jupiter's doing. It's aspecting the ninth house. What's the fucking ruler of the ninth house? Jupiter. It's because it's Sagittarius. You see how this is such a successful chart? This is such a philosophical chart, honestly. This is a spiritual chart. I'm sorry. This chart believes in God. This chart believes in things. This chart has like a higher mindset. Also, it aspects his first. It aspects his ascendant. So not only is his ascendant ruled by Jupiter, but his Jupiter is aspecting his first house in Sagittarius and his natural ninth house of Sagittarius. It's just good. It's really, really good. Okay, then he has his Saturn aspecting his fifth, first, and eighth. Interesting. It doesn't look like he has kids. If he does, he's very distant with them. He doesn't know them. He's very distant with them. Something like that. Saturn creates distance. It does. When people have a lot of Saturn with their moon, they have issues with their mom. When they have a lot of Saturn with their son, they have issues with their dad. If it's in the fourth house, you can have again issues with your mom. If it's in the fifth house, you can have issues with children. His Saturn is aspecting the fifth. Where is his Saturn actually? It's in Virgo. It's in Chitra. That's okay. That's good. That's good. Okay, he has Saturn. That means, and fifth house is the house of children. So if he has Saturn, which is the planet of delay, or which is why it could suggest that he doesn't have kids. But people are saying that he has kids, just just not like, in a family sense. He just has like secret kids or whatever. This would actually make sense because Saturn is distance, whether it's emotional distance, whether it's what's so funny is that people who have Saturn, crazy Saturn, sometimes their dads are distant, or their dads are in jail, or their dads are dead, which is interesting because he has Saturn aspecting his fifth house of children, which means his if he does have children, his children would probably be a Saturn son, or probably have Saturn aspecting their son, which means they don't know their dad, which would be Jeffrey Epstein. Am I making sense here? Now here's the other thing. This, don't get scared, but when you have Saturn aspecting your first house, sometimes it can mean you die. Oh, that's the other thing. Let me talk about this real quick. Fake death. Not gonna lie, I can see that in his chart. A fake death. Why? You look at the Maraca houses. Those are the death houses, okay? I'm looking at his death houses. He's got Rahu there. Rahu is illusion. The other thing I see is he's conjunct his sun, which is interesting because he basically got famous after he died, right? It's interesting because, or maybe his death was part of his fame, right? This is in his chart. Here's what also is interesting. His seventh house is in Gemini. Gemini is multiple. Gemini, so this could, in a funny way, you could guess that this man has had multiple deaths, meaning that he died once and he died again. That could mean that he had a fake death and then he'll have his actual real death. And those are in his Manaka houses. So that's actually very interesting to me. Okay. Damn, I did a lot. But yeah, guys, if you made it this far, let me know. Like literally let me know that you made it this far. And yeah, email me if you want a chart reading. All right, guys, bye. Love you. Bye.